Welcome back to another episode of the Shortsighted podcast. Today we're talking to Joey, who has reduced his -5 diopter myopia to -3 diopters, interestingly enough, in his first year. And now that is not yet all the way back to 2020, but I thought it was a really interesting conversation. Joey spends a lot of time surfing. He has also got a really interesting background. I think you might enjoy this chat. Join us with Joey. Where do you surf at?
I live on Oahu.
Oh, dick.
Yeah, North Shore, Oahu. I live on a boat in the woods. I don't know if it's midnight, so you can't really tell, but it's an old sailboat
That is freaking amazing.
in the forest. I
That
know.
is-
My girlfriend found it on a sketchy ad on Craigslist, and it ended up not being sketchy, but we're thrilled.
So are they renting the boat, or did you buy it, or how does
Yeah.
that work?
It's in the forest. It's on stilts. It's like an old sailboat that they like mounted on stilts.
No.
Yeah.
That
it's
is so cool.
I know.
How long have you lived there?
Only since August. She started grad school here, so I followed her out here.
Wow, that's super cool. That is kind of hippie-ish, I want to say, almost.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah. We were just in Koh Phangan. It's some island in the south of Thailand, and it's all like kind of hippie-ish. And I make fun of that stuff a lot, but I'm not serious. I joke. And when we first arrived, like the first week, we're like, look at them all. Like they're not even wearing shoes walking down the street. Nobody's got a shirt on. They're all eating just this like local vegan stuff. And a week later, we're not wearing shoes, not wearing shirts.
Giving hugs to random people.
Yeah, it's like, and now I'm back in the city. I've been back in the city like 2-3 weeks. And next week, we're going to go back to the island because I can't deal with the city stuff anymore.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice. You can actually go to a grocery store without a t-shirt here, without a shirt on.
Same on the island, right? But you got to wear a mask.
Okay.
But just a mask and shorts, and you're good to go.
You're good. Yeah, you don't need shoes.
You don't need shoes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So you started out with what was it, 5?
The worst that I've seen from old contacts that I have laying around is -5.
Wow, that's a lot.
I think it was -5 in both eyes.
How do you surf with contacts?
They fall out occasionally.
And then how do you find your way back home? You just follow the wave? You just kind of go this way? Must be.
Yeah, they take you in. Yeah. I've been surfing over 10 years. I've probably only lost 20 contacts.
Oh, that's not so bad.
No.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's gone up now that I'm wearing the dailies because I'm going through, diopters, and I'm just ordering dailies off of visiondirect.co.uk. I don't know if that, because that's the only one that I've found that you can order contacts on without a prescription.
Oh, the pesky prescription.
I know. It delayed me from starting the diopter movement probably several months because optometrists kind of shunned on me.
Yeah.
After talking to a couple.
I just made a rant video talking about the right to repair.
Haven't seen it. I'll watch it.
But it's like the right to repair your eyeballs, right? Like they're literally just withholding stuff from you. Like if you want low adopters, they're just like, nah.
Now I'm getting angry. Now that right to repair, I'm gonna start. That's going on a piece of cardboard, and I'm going down the street tomorrow.
Don't. So you're down to 2 something now, right?
No, so when we were emailing, I said 2.75 because that's what I was wearing for probably a couple weeks in both eyes. And then I realized I was too ambitious. I'm wearing 3.25s right now.
That's still a big difference, right?
I know, yeah. That's what I remind myself, and I'm stoked, yeah. Because it's only been a year-ish.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like especially if you're being that realistic about it, that's a lot. That's like 2 diopters just about.
Yeah, so I'm stoked because at night, definitely 3.25s are the best. During the day, sometimes it feels like I can see anything super crisp. So I think that 3.25 is still pretty good. I wear negative 1.25 when I'm on the computer,
Nice.
or no,
Nice.
plus 1.25. Sorry.
Right,
Reading
over
glasses.
top. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I could wear threes now. I was gonna. Sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. But
Especially if you're surfing, like you kind of want to stay like just okay. Who knows, really, right? But I'd be like for surfing, I'd keep it to where you need some active focus, not a lot, but just a little bit, right? Just to make out like details, and then it's even fine in the evening to go up a little bit when it's not enough.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna try and have multiple diopters on hand for different times and activities within
Yeah,
just like just I'll probably be switching between 3.25s and 3.0s
yeah.
in the
Have you
next
ever
like month
lost?
or two.
Have you lost any of the -3s in the water yet?
Yeah. Yeah, but I have more on the way. I actually went crazy on Vision Direct because I don't know. I'm worried that the US is going to make it more difficult to order because all the websites for ordering contacts in the US are really picky about having your prescription. Have you not heard of visiondirect.co.uk?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people do a lot of different things that I won't comment on or endorse to get their
Okay.
contact lenses. But yeah, I'm sure I've heard it mentioned in the Facebook group. But just,
Okay.
I'm in Asia, and here you walk in an optic shop, and you just go, "Give me this," and they will just sell it to you. Like there isn't
That's
any.
cool.
Yeah, they're none of that.
Nice. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this is all I found so far here.
Actually, I bought some lenses off of eBay in the UK, just with no correction, just the photochromic lenses.
Uh-huh.
And I brought the raw lenses and a frame I bought somewhere else to an optic shop here. And I was just like, here, cut me these. And they don't even ask what it is, why it is. They're just like, give me $5, we'll do it.
Wow, good deal.
Yeah. So if you lose the -3s, how's that different from losing the -5s? Have you compared that in your mind?
Okay, this was something I was going to mention when I said that I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I not sure if this answers the question, but I hadn't tried on. I have some 4.5s laying around, and I was too scared to try them. I was like, oh no, my vision's going to be so good. I'm going to be like, it's not working. And then my girlfriend convinced me to try them, and I did have like some bubble vision where it was like kind of stressing me out, like that you would, I think, feel if you tried on someone else's glasses and you didn't need them. So I was happy about that. So
I mean, like, so in the water, like you're in the water, you're losing contact lenses. I remember because I was at -5, and if I lost my glasses, it was just like blur city.
okay, yeah, I I think that when I wake up in the morning, things are more clear. It's hard to do like a side by side comparison, I suppose, but
Right.
it's definitely feels like things are significantly more clear. And losing them in the water, it's usually one at a time. I've never
Oh.
lost both at a time. So it's that weird, like, one eye kind of trying to overpower the other one. And then I'm like, I'm going around like this. And like, people are like, who's this crazy guy? But then, you can get whatever wave you want if they think you're crazy.
That is also very true.
Yeah.
-3, like another diopter less, and you'll be able to go out without contacts
You
on
think?
like a nice day. It won't be perfect, but like if you skip wearing them for a little bit for like half a day or something, and then go out like on a nice sunny day, you might be able to be pulling that off around -2. Yeah.
So stoked.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a session ender. Only a few times I've stayed out there, but I keep extra contacts in the car. I usually will just come in. But then there's times where like the contact will slide back in my eyeball. I'll go in and then I'll find it in the mirror, and I know it's gross.
That's
I
so
know I don't like looking up there.
tough.
It's terrible.
No. And how did your myopia get that high being like into outdoor and surfing stuff?
Probably video games as a kid.
Video
Yeah.
games.
I grew up with active parents, but I still played a lot of video games.
Yeah. And they took you to the optometrist.
It took me to the optometrist. Probably couldn't see the board or something. But I was probably one of those kids that wanted to sit in the back of the classroom anyways, and then like that probably contributed. It's
I
like,
wonder why that is.
oh
That's
well.
that's cool. The thing is just the thing behind you is just kind of waving around.
Yeah.
I'm just envious because I'm like, you must have good airflow over there.
It is. It
looks
does get
chill.
super hot, but it's pretty good. We're
That's
kind of in a
nice.
wind tunnel right here. Yeah.
So why did your girlfriend try to convince you to wear the -4.5s?
I suppose I would just say because I'm super lucky. She's super in tune with me, and she knows that I probably had a fear of like trying those 4.5s. She was like, she was, I'm sure, confident that they would give me that bubble vision sort of thing of like high glasses. And so I'm pretty sure she probably just wanted me to experience that.
That's cool. How's her
Yeah.
eyesight?
She doesn't wear glasses, but she does have a pair of glasses. And I think that they only correct one eye for an astigmatism. Because looking at lights and bright things at night, I think, is difficult sometimes.
That's cool. How did you find the whole myopia thing?
I think that I was actually thinking about LASIK or curious about it because I had heard you weren't supposed to have it till you were like 25 at least.
Yeah.
And then I'm 29 now, just turned 29. And so I was like, like it's kind of a bummer wearing contacts. I'll just look at it. And then I think that led to looking at alternatives and whatnot. I've been a big fan of alternatives, like hippie medicine, whatever. I actually did a bachelor's and a master's degree in biomedical engineering, and I was very fascinated I focused on neural engineering, like the mind and the brain. And I've always been super interested in like your body's like innate abilities to heal itself. And so everything you're doing with spreading and myopia is like right up like everything that I find super fascinating about like humans and like our like power and like what our actions can do to inspire us and like how powerful they are. So no, super stoked. Thanks for chatting. I've seen your videos and this is crazy that we're chatting.
Dude, I really appreciate it because when I emailed, it was literally because you said surfing and hiking, and I never get to talk to anybody. Well, that's not true, but like same alley, right? Like I'm more into kite surfing right now, right? But it's like you gotta have eyes for that stuff, and a lot of times when I talk to people, my enthusiasm, I'm always excited, but it's not quite to the same level. Like when you say surfing, I'm like, you gotta have eyes like for that stuff. Like you just have to, right?
Yeah.
And also, a couple friends of mine that surf that had myopia reversed theirs pretty fast. And I'm not saying this for other people to have higher expectations, but just because you spend so much time, right, like looking at everything around you, like seriously, like you got to see exactly what's going on. So you don't even have to think about active focus and all that stuff. You just have to wear whatever contacts give you a little bit of challenge. So you get a lot of that, and it's super naturally happening. So it seems like most people get a diopter a year, but surfer friends usually do better faster.
Oh, thanks. And probably because you said that, it's going to happen faster.
It's already, I mean, two diopters in a year is already super great. I mean, that's right. Like -3, one more, because 2 diopters is right at that point where you're just like, you need them, but not like you can't live without them, right? And then 1 more diopter, you're to the point where you forget them at home, or you don't put them contact lenses in, and you're still fine till there's less light. Like you're on this path where after 1 more diopter, it turns into one of those, you can get away without it more and more. So yeah, it's
cool. Yeah, surfing's all right. I went mountain biking like a week ago or something with the 2.75s, and it was so dangerous. Like I couldn't see anything. And that's when I was like, okay, I have some 3.5s like lying around. I'll try them. Or no, I had 3.25s. And so I had like 3 pairs, and then I just ordered another 2 boxes from Vision Direct, because I'm still able to do the active focus with 3.25s and not be super dangerous when I'm doing activities. So
speed especially, right? Like speed changes
yeah.
stuff a lot. Like static acuity is a whole different ball game than when you're just racing down a mountain.
Sketchy.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, I super appreciate it. Yeah, like surfing, like you can definitely be in front of everything exciting and not worry about your contacts. But as soon as you're trying to like get up under the lip or anything, like that's when you accidentally get clipped in the head and it hits the contact out. So it just makes you a little more cautious and it makes it a little less fun. So every diopter I go down is like super exciting.
Piece of cake.
I couldn't imagine waking up one day like not having to put in contacts.
We're gonna have to do.
I was like 12 years old.
We're gonna have to do an update for that one.
Yeah.
We're gonna need some B-roll, some GoPros, something. We're gonna have to do that one on the beach.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, some effects and like maybe like little slow-mo and then a little speed up thing. Like there'll be like a couple of those fancy.
Follow you on a drone.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with that degree? That sounds like sort of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I found it super interesting. Most of the jobs were in cardiac disease and cancer, and that kind of pushed me towards helping small farmers with marketing and distribution because, I don't know, I think that a listener might be able to make the connection, I suppose, but I just thought that a healthier relationship with nature and, the nature that supports us would give us, better health. And something like 80% of healthcare dollars are spent on preventable diseases. I think that's what the CDC said in like 2015. And so that kind of naturally pushed me towards trying to help grow a better agriculture system. So anyways, I'm doing software development, helping small food producers and food distributors.
Huh.
So I'm on the computer a lot, and these I think have helped.
Yeah.
The reading glasses.
What kind of software do you develop to help producers of stuff?
All JavaScript, front end and back end JavaScript. I lived in San Luis Obispo for 10 years, Central Coast, California. That's where I went to school. Cal Poly was the school's name. And a lot of farmers there. It's great. Lucky place to have lived. Anyways, their biggest hurdles are accessing customers and then also accessing the distribution that reaches those customers. So I owned a little startup there called Local Zone Market, and we did distribution and e-commerce for farmers. And now since I've been here, I've helped this other distributor here called Oahu Fresh with their software and distribution.
That's cool.
But it's all web development, JavaScript, front and back. And yeah.
That's interesting. You're combining a lot of different stuff there.
Yeah. Also, software is good for surfing because it's mostly contract jobs. So you can surf them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's awesome. And you live in an awesome place. That's
I know,
cool.
super lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not lucky because you moved there. You probably picked it, right?
No, girlfriend picked it for school. It was between this and Anchorage, Alaska. She was like, "Do you want to go to Anchorage or do you want to go to Hawaii?" I was like, "I love you. Whatever, wherever you want to go." But I think she might have known.
Yeah. You whispered to her in her sleep, "You don't like bears. There's bears."
Repeatedly for 8 hours until she woke up, and I slept during the day. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. That's how it works out. So how long are you guys going to stay there?
She's doing a master's now, but likes it and might continue through a PhD, or at least one more year for the master's. And if she does the PhD, then it would be probably 3 more years from now. And she's doing wastewater management, turning poop into electricity. And there's a big issue here because there's a lot of, I suppose, outdated infrastructure, a lot of neighborhoods are using like cesspools where they just like disperse the waste instead of like trying to treat it. Some might go in the ocean too, I think. Well, it definitely does from the cesspools because Hawaii's organic or volcanic rock and it's very porous. So when you try and distribute the waste, it naturally like feeds into the ocean because of waves and tides like coming in and out. So she might get a job here or somewhere else. But that's another reason why software is cool, because I can do it anywhere.
Yeah. Is there wind there?
Wind, yeah, it's usually east trade winds, and Oahu's got this funny shape where there's the magic North Shore side is west facing. So I don't know. Okay, I'll look at my screen. No, so what would a compass look like to the viewer? Anyways, offshore is good for surfing. And then, but there's north and south shore that are pretty much offshore for the east trade winds.
Oh, okay.
That blow very consistently. So there's wind, but it's usually good wind.
Strong enough to strap yourself to a kite, maybe? That's what you need.
You should try Maui. Maui has got like some, I guess, like world-class windsurfing. Yeah. It's really windy over there. I think they don't have as much that blocks it. I think Oahu has more mountain ranges that block the east trade winds. And then, but on the east side, I don't know. I haven't heard much about windsurfers, but there's the windward side of Oahu, just the east side, and it's really windy. It blows on shore all the time. Whereas like Maui has like a north shore and a south shore, and the Hana side, the east side, and like the wind just comes all the way through there, and like lots of wind.
I'm not really cool enough for windsurfing. I only kite surf. The thing with the kite. It's like twin tip or surfboard, but a kite as opposed to the big board and the thing. There's windsurfers where we kite, and I'm always super impressed because that stuff is old school, hard. You know what I mean? Like you got to pull that sail out of the water, and you're strapped to the. Oh man, it's not me.
How's the kite surfing where you are?
Here there's not any because I'm right now in Bangkok. I'm kind of sort of stuck here because airports are closed. But I usually kite surf more in Vietnam.
Whoa.
That's more. I'm not cool enough for, Hawaii, California, anywhere around there. It's more.
I don't know.
It's more my world class anything. But it's not far. It's like an hour and a half flight, so I can get there anytime when there's not Corona lockdown. Yeah, it's nice.
So do you live there permanently?
I live nowhere permanently.
Very nice.
Yeah. I'm mostly around Asia. I like to go to Europe if I can. Right now, all bets are off, obviously, but just depends on the season and stuff.
Dang. That's rad. I'm super impressed with myopia.org and how you've made it happen, and super grateful you're getting it out there. And somehow I came across it. I think I was looking at LASIK and I came across myopia.org. So like, that's exactly what you want, kind of.
That is what I want. And you know what? In a way, I'm always surprised because the thing is kind of a mess. People always complain about it. I'm like, yeah, well, it's my morning part-time. Like when I find time, I mess with it. Like it's not professional on any level. But then I'm still somewhat surprised when people make it work because I know how much of a pile of stuff it is to dig through. Right? Like, so when you mention your background, I'm like, that makes a little more sense because you're used to research, right?
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
I used to have like whatever the school's access to all the papers, and now I suppose you can find stuff on Google Scholar. But
Google Scholar is freaking amazing.
It is.
Back when I researched all this stuff, there was no Google Scholar, and I'm like the old dude now who's like, you kids have it so easy, and still nobody uses it. I'm like, one little search will put you in front of a lot of interesting data. That's not Google, like, Bates method stuff, like actual data where you go, that's curious, right?
Yeah,
like
wild.
You can literally be sitting in the optometrist's office on your phone, pulling up pseudomyopia and going, what is this then?
Yeah. I think I'm 0 for 3 on optometrists that I talked to. Yeah.
How so?
Shame. One of them shamed me. He's like,
Oh,
you're
man.
wrong. There's no way. You should wear the best lenses you can get. And then he kind of like did this chuckle little. I was like, dude. And then the other one was like, no, I don't think that's gonna work. Maybe if you're a little kid. And then the last one, I think, just kind of didn't respond. They just were
Yeah.
like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I'm friends might be a strong word, but I know more than a few of them. And I hear the stories, especially guys who quit. Those are brilliant. And I haven't managed to get any one of them on the podcast yet because they don't really want to put their face on it saying anything. But
Yeah.
behind the scenes, like how much pressure, especially if you're working for like a chain, it's just numbers. Like how many have you sold today? Right.
Yeah.
And literally there's just stories I really, really want to get online. I can't understand why people don't want to put their face on it. But like where the manager would go, why did you let this guy walk out? And the optometrist goes, well, he had fine eyesight, and then just getting berated, right? Like
Really?
minus one. Everybody could use -1. Like I'm just like, wow,
That's
please
crazy.
let me put that on camera, right? And the dude's like, no, I don't want my face on that
But
message.
you're on camera, but I wonder, like, before we chatted, I was like, but he's in Bangkok is what the Zoom meeting said. So I'm like, are you on the run? Are you on the run from the optometrist guys? Are you like the Edward Snowden of like myopia? That's what I'm like
No,
thinking.
no,
Really?
but I got lawyers. I get the quarterly review of what I say and what I said and what I can't say. Like there's definitely I get scrubbed because they own a big pile of the terminology. Like there's
Dang.
certain things that I, as a non-optometrist, can't say. And then I looked into like, well, if I become an optometrist, not that hard to do, right? Especially in Asia, there's lots of places where you can just, you know, but then it's even worse because now you're accountable for the things that you're saying.
Oh man.
So it's like, yeah, I've had this discussion because I do other business stuff, right? Because so I got liabilities in general, right? It's not just myopia, it's just I gotta watch myself. So it's kind of mafia-esque the way it's run, right? Because clear curved pieces of plastic aren't prescriptions in a lot of places and weren't in the US either till the lens manufacturing industry spent millions lobbying Congress to make it a law that clear plastic is a prescription. Because these things cost $5, right? Like they cost nothing wholesale, but that way they control the distribution and they control the message and they make it sound like it's a prescription. That's why it's $500.
Yeah,
So
because you can buy these ones at the store, but no one has a problem like staring like at a tree 2 miles away, right? And that's why.
yeah, it just, yes, I'm not on the run, but I do have to be sort of careful and I'm not trying to get too mainstream with it and I'm not pushing it because it's $100 billion industry and I don't want to be too loud about, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
I
there's still
know.
real, right?
And that
Like,
sounds super stressful. And so I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you putting yourself on the line like that and getting yourself out there at least enough for me and everyone else to hear you. Like, thank you so much, Jake.
no, I appreciate
You're
it. Yeah,
doing
I
it.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank
You're
you
a
very much.
hero.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more, I get annoyed. Like when you said the guy shamed you, that stuff, because I get that too. There was some YouTube comment yesterday or something from an optometrist. It was like, he's wrong, you're wrong. And here's why you're wrong. And I'm like, well, like that gets me to just go, well, I'm not, and here's why I'm not. And then I make more stuff because some of that is just, it's bullshit. Right? Like, come on. Like,
Dude,
I would be
it's
cool if they were like McDonald's and they said, right, the stuff may or may not be good for you, but it's tasty. Here you go.
yeah.
If they said, if they treated glasses the same way, it's like, do you want instant great vision? I'm not saying it's good or bad, just, you know, then I'd be fine. But when they put all those claims behind it, like you're sick, you're a patient, this is a prescription, it's unfixable. That's why I'm like, that's just lies, right? That affected me personally. Now I've got kids. I get all these emails from parents with kids where they go, oh, they diagnosed my 5-year-old.
And they're like, make sure to come in next year so we can make sure your eye isn't disintegrating from the inside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we
That's
do
cool.
health checkups too. That's really what we do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on because what makes me feel safer in a way is the more people are talking about it, the less it's just me. You know what I mean? Like the more there's of this out there and the more it spreads, the less, like I was a lot more worried 5 years ago than now.
Great.
Like, yeah, it was worse. I used to get a lot more shit from optometrists online, just hate mail. I'm like, oof. Yeah.
That's nuts. I'm glad you feel safer. That's good. At least like something's coming back for you or to you. Some whatever.
Good
You know,
vibes.
coming around. It's coming around.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad though. I'm glad it's like this makes my day too, right? Because before all this, I was just doing business and stock trading stuff, like just feeling like kind of an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at least like this feels better as like a thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should.
Sorry.
I want to grow a mustache like that, but I don't know if I can pull that off.
Yeah, you have plenty going on behind it. What I do is I grow out the beard first all together so that it doesn't look funny when you're just growing this and it's like halfway there. And then I shave the beard. And then you just have that. And then you don't have that awkward face in between.
That's
just like all the way out like this far and just like shave everything else.
That's a good idea. I just want that to be my passport picture. Like really, that's it.
Yeah.
just that and
Are
some
you up
weird
for
glasses.
renewal soon? Or you can just lose it, I guess.
Yeah, actually kind of soon. Yeah.
Start now. The bigger the better.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a good idea.
What I liked this one a lot. It was like this, but then like I grew the beard like straight down here. And I guess I didn't know what it was called, but I thought it was cool. But
it is. And your girlfriend was all right with it.
No, that's the problem. Not that one. Yeah, not that one. For like a couple weeks. But then I was like, okay. You look your redneck. And then she like would say that I look like a redneck because I have like a mohawk sort of right now. And then I would do like like dirt bike references. And then she like said that it was getting a little just like, I started getting in the character, I think like an actor would sort of like when a big like role is coming up.
That's like all the jokes I made about the beard is like I want to do a beard. I want to just do a gigantic, and I can grow it. My face here grows well. But my girlfriend does the same thing. She's just like, after 2 or 3 months, she goes, "You really." You
start talking like a wizard, and that's weird.
And I love it, and it's just like it makes me happy. But then her and people around me in general, and I'm especially in Asia, people are afraid of not blanket statement, but I know I can't get through immigration without a lot of questions when I have a beard, like just stuff like that. So I don't have them, but I just want a wizard beard.
Yeah. Yeah. And just sit under a tree and end myopia that way. Just tell people stories about their eyes.
It would be so much cooler.
It would work.
It would
I
totally.
would sit and listen. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like, wow. And I could stroke the beard. Be like, I'd be of indeterminable age. You know what I mean? It would just be like.
Which would mean you would never get old. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe.
You'd be with us forever, which should be fantastic.
It might be too long for some people.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say was these optometrists are like, why wouldn't they just like have support for you or say like, yeah, that'll probably work? Because like even if it doesn't work, the placebo is like what, 20-30% chance it's going to work anyways. If they just like tell someone it's going to work, like that's a good enough chance. You tell 4 people that.
Well, yeah,
like,
technically,
like, oh, that might work.
They would sell a lot more glasses for one, right? Like you buy a ton of glasses going through this stuff. Business-wise, it would make sense for them to do it. Also, if one optometrist does it, he's got a competitive advantage because now you go back to this guy because he knows you, he knows a story, he knows that you're reducing. You buy the glasses from him, it makes a ton of money because you buy 2 pair every 3 or 4 months. You're reducing, so you're buying a ton of glasses. And even when you're at 20/20, you might still have some plus lenses, you might still buy sunglasses, you might still be buying stuff. So it's a net positive. It's just a lot of them genuinely do not believe that the story they've been telling for the last however many years isn't really accurate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a huge, like they just can't, like my dad is a doctor, right? And he loves statins for heart disease prevention. And he will not look at any of the data that's saying that statins isn't necessarily the right answer. He just won't look at it. He refuses to talk about it. And what I finally figured out is just, he's told the story for so long. It's like part of his truth. And he something in your brain just can't give up that, like that's part of your belief system. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You know, can't, it's tough to admit you're wrong. Like as much as easy it is to say that, but it's just like, it's okay to grow and learn and change opinions. And I think people will only respect you if you admit that you've learned more information and you're willing to change and like adapt.
Plus now, I mean, we're making a phone app right now that allows you to measure your eyesight just with the phone. And that's coming. Like Amazon is going to come out with an app that lets you measure your eyesight and try on virtual glasses and just buy them with a click. Like this is all not far away. And at that point, traditional retail optometry will be like taxis. You know what I mean? Like that industry is kind of sunset at this point.
Yeah.
So whatever. We got time. We can wait them out.
Yeah. I actually almost became an optometrist, or at least like I got into this one school that was like a 7-year bachelor's plus optometry thing, because my mom has had cataract surgery. She's got a detached retina. She's got macular degeneration. When I was a kid, she had the thickest glasses ever. And she had to wear like hard contacts if she wore contacts, because I think her vision was so bad she couldn't wear the soft ones. Anyway, she's gotten cataract surgery. And so she's got the new lenses in her eyes and she wears thin glasses now. But she still has like a blind spot in like part of her eye and like lots of floaters, I think, because the blind spot, I think, is because of the detached retina. But so many eye problems, I just kind of thought it was genetic, my whole life. And like that's one reason why I was interested in becoming an optometrist. And that's actually one of the reasons I did biomedical engineering, was because I had to choose right out of high school for the school I went to. And I saw that it could be a path towards being an optometrist if that's what I wanted to do in 4 years. And I just wonder like what I would, I don't know. I guess I don't really have much more to say other than that. That's an interesting little tiny side story factoid, I suppose, on this.
And that's also when people go, how are these people like that? And I'm like, it's just you pick a job direction when you're a kid, basically, right? I mean, it's not like, it's what are your friends doing in school, and then you pick this gig, and then you learn what they teach you, and then you're basically just trying to make a living, right? Like, so in a way, I get where they're coming from, and then it's kind of threatening, like this asshole on the internet says we're all wrong, you know what I mean? And I'm not even being that nice about it. So I'm like, I get it. Like, I should be nicer.
But it kind of makes you angry at the same time too. Like,
it's the not listening, right? Like, I'm trusting you about eyesight, and then I'm reading your scientific journals, literally like the optometry journal. And I'm like, hey, literally in your journal, it says to start it as a strain symptom, not as a genetic condition. What's up with that? And we can't have a dialogue about this. It becomes like ideology versus just a discussion about what might be going on. And that's why I'm like, that's not cool when you also give me glasses, then I can't see my twin tip. You know what I mean? Like, crossing the line.
I know. Yeah.
Whatever.
Ideologies, man. It's also emotional stuff.
Yeah. I get it. I got to be nicer about it. I got to be more inclusive and
yeah. I don't know. I guess I haven't seen all your material. I guess I haven't seen the super angry ones, but I'll look for those. I'll try and find the super angry Jake videos.
There's not super angry ones on the blog. There's some rants that are less friendly, but usually like I write the full on thing and then I delete like half of it out of there. So it's still like not great, but it's not as bad as it started out. And then on videos, I try to tone it down more, because I don't really hate anybody. It's just in the moment when people write shit where I'm like, this is patently wrong, and you're using it to attack me, and you're being dumb. Like, this is easily disprovable, and you're calling me like fake and a scam in the same paragraph. I'm like, that is just, dude. Ah. But on the positive, right? Like, I'm trying to go more towards the positive. Like, you were at -5, now you're down 2 diopters. Another year from now, you're going to be maybe surfing without contacts, maybe a year and a half. I don't know. Like,
Dude, you're just trying to get me excited.
it's possible.
That'd be so cool. It'd be so cool to wake up and just not do it. I think it'd be easier to get out of bed, you know? Like, that's like, maybe I'd get like 20 extra minutes every day just because I'd be so stoked.
I can't believe it sometimes, because I still get moments where I feel like, shit, I left my glasses. Like, when I'm super in the middle of a ton of stuff. And then sometimes when I'm out kiting, I'm still like, it's amazing. I can see all of this tiny shit, like the shore break. There's this little, just the shore break's pretty far out there. And I'm like, oh, and there's white caps on there, but it's far. And then sometimes I get a moment, I'm like, I can see that. Like, I was at -5, right? Like, I can see the little white caps way out there. And I'm like, oh, good wind, good offshore wind.
So awesome.
You'll get there.
Another thing, I just saw or listened to 2/3, I'm not done with it yet, a podcast. I don't know if you know who Rich Roll is, but he's he's an athlete, author, has a pretty good podcast. What's the name of, okay, so he interviewed this guy. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, he interviewed this guy, Dr. Andrew Huberman. If you go on richroll.com, it's one of the most recent ones. I think it was just done within the last few weeks. But it's a researcher at Stanford that researches vision and stress. And I was listening to this podcast, like, I want to remember every single thing this dude says so that I could say it to Jake, like, remember to say it to Jake. But I can't, so I'm saying it's just really cool. But he talks about things about how focus, okay, you hear like hippies, meditation, whatever, you can control your autonomic nervous system a bit with your breath and your diaphragm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, right? You know, like,
yeah, I'm aware. Yeah.
Wim Hof breathing, whatever, different types, you know, they're like, okay, historically they thought you couldn't control this nervous system with your mind or your, behavior. But now they're saying, okay, your breath, you can do it. Anyways, this dude is saying another way to tap into it is your vision. And it's like, okay, so a few of the things are when you have visual focus on something, it actually is directly linked to your cognitive focus on something. And when you have extreme focus on something, your autonomic nervous system is going a lot more. You're releasing a lot more norepinephrine. And when you're looking at a horizon or something broad where you're not focusing, it actually relaxes your autonomic nervous system. And it's a way to tap into it. And so one therapy that they do, it's called EMDR for people with trauma, is they have like a swinging ball in front of them. And what that does is, I guess it tricks the brain into thinking that you're walking or you're outside, and you no longer have to be in hyper focus mode. You can be in big observing mode, and your stress levels go down. So if you're in a therapy session for trauma and that you look at this ball going back and forth, they're actually seeing amazing results in treating post-traumatic stress if you pair therapy with looking at a ball like this. Because
I'm already more relaxed with you just going like that.
I'll keep doing it. The rest of the podcast.
It's working for me. I don't know why it is, but I'm like, yes.
Who knows? Anyway, so it's come up with this researcher realized that they were more relaxed when they would go on walks, and they were thinking about their vision, and then they started looking into it more. And so this came out, EMDR. And there's been, within the last few years, I think Dr. Andrew Huberman said 5 really amazing studies on it that show that it works. And so his lab studies all sorts of vision, stress, focus, tapping into the, things that we thought we couldn't tap into before. Anyways, I thought it was super cool if you have time to watch it. And what I'm finding is when I'm using these things, it's kind of putting me into a hyper focus mode because everything else is going blurry and the screen's going clear. And I have sometimes had trouble getting distracted when I feel stress. Like if I feel stressed, then maybe I'll look for pleasure. I don't know, look for surfboards on Craigslist or something, or watch a surfboard video. But when I wear these and I'm like more focused, I actually feel like more focused. Like I'm like, because I'm like hyper focused on something as opposed to more like observant sort of thing. I don't know. It's like, I've only had these for about 2 weeks and it seems like it might be affecting my ability to focus as well in a positive way.
That's interesting.
Which is interesting.
I gotta talk to that guy. We gotta combine.
Dude, you should.
We gotta combine the streams somehow. Huh?
Oh, I think he'd be so thrilled.
Yeah.
Because he's all about neuroplasticity. And he was talking about how the eyes are not so much a separate organ. They are part of the central nervous system. They're just like an extension of the brain. This is something that he feels strongly about. And he's all about finding ways to overcome bad habits, even with your eyes, and create new habits with your eyes. And
you gotta talk to this guy. That's what positive, right? We got to spend more time on this kind of positive stuff. Yeah,
I know.
Get optometrists are not important.
Yeah.
Good things. That's awesome. I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna see if I can connect to that guy.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll send you an email too with the link or whatever.
That's awesome.
And I'm gonna I'm gonna see what papers he has that are, public as well. Girlfriend showed me this a couple of days ago, so I haven't gone as deep as I want to yet.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'm gonna fall into that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, it's got to be like 1 a.m. over there. I should probably let you.
Yeah. 12:50.
Dude.
Yeah, thanks so much for offering to do a podcast, Jake. Thanks for chatting. I was like, this is such an opportunity to just talk with Jake.
I super appreciate it. I really, really, really do. And plus, I'm not just saying that. We got to follow up. I want to hear your -2 and -1, especially with surfing, right? Like, because you got a point. Like, you got to, at what point are you not bringing contacts to go surfing? I want to be in that conversation.
Oh, man. So excited. 1 year. We'll see. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
1 to 2 years will be my guess.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Cool, man.
Fantastic. Thanks. Awesome. Yeah. Super excited to talk more. I'm going to do more research, and if it still sounds like cool stuff with that Dr. Huberman, I'd love to see what you have more knowledge on everything that you found with the plasticity in eyeballs, and would love to, chat again.
He sounds like a smarter guy than me, and I think that would be, I'd love to listen to him talk about some of this stuff. Maybe in context of myopia and stuff, you might have interesting insights on that too, right?
So in this podcast with Rich Roll, he talks about myopic vision, not in the sense of, progressive myopia and like the transient myopia that you talk about, but as in the hyperfocus thing, like myopic vision, like the hyperfocus. Even he talks about drug addicts in this thing, like people get in this such hyperfocus thing and they think that the only thing that's going to give them pleasure and is potentially that drug or alcohol or something. But if you can get into that different brain set where you're observant of the other opportunities out there, it's better. But if you get in this hyper stress state where you think that the only thing that's going to give you happiness, and so he relates this to all sorts of different phenomena of the mind and the brain and like reality, and it's all rooted in the eyeballs and like how they relate to the rest of the nervous system. It's
These are brilliant
wild.
people.
You,
They're totally out of my league because I'm literally just like on a side note, just figured out how to get out of myopia, which is freaking simple, realistically, right? Like my knowledge level is like down here somewhere. But
okay, but like not necessarily, because I think that there's like, a million kinds of or billion kinds of intelligence, right? Like Einstein, you judge a frog by its ability to fly or whatever. Anyways, like there's the people like doing like the Hadron Collider and stuff, but how is that going to like help make the world better? There's people that actively translate these amazing theories and stuff into helping people's lives. And so there's like always going to be a business side and a social side and like a science side to these things. And you're one of those sides, and you're brilliant at doing it. You've made it happen.
Right.
You're helping so many people. And that's a form of intelligence that I respect the most. And so thank you, Jake. Like, we need you, man. So he's not out of your league. You guys are just focusing on different aspects of ways to help other people, and you're killing it.
That makes sense.
And if you guys had talked, then, man, I'd listen 10 times, 20 times, 30 times until I can memorize it. I don't know.
I will definitely try. I will reach out to the dude and see if he's up for it. That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. You're making my day, because it's weird to be behind. Doing all this from a laptop feels weird because it's a social kind of engagement, right? And we're all just, So this is cool. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, so that was Joey. Clearly, I had a good time in this conversation. I hope you did too. I have a lot more of these planned. I really hope to bring you a lot of the details of people of all walks of life and all ages, and parents with children, and complete reversals and progress stories of reductions here in these. I hope you subscribe in your favorite podcast app, and I will talk to you in the next one. Meow, 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 meow.